I want to thank all of you who have been so supportive to me over the last year and the last several years, of course, because that really, really made a huge difference. And it's so great to be back doing all the things that I really love and getting to share them with you. Uh, I see someone saying that there'll be a package in Kentucky when I return, and that's really very kind. I did get a few things sent here. I want to thank, well, Lisa Keller, first of all. I'll show a few things that came my way. She sent this. This is a 1909 Alaska Yukon Exposition spoon from here in Seattle, the first Seattle World's Fair. And a few of the buildings, most were temporary, but a few of them, you see, whoops, I have it upside down. You see one of the buildings there. A couple of them actually were turned into permanent buildings for the University of Washington, and the campus now occupies where the 1909 World's Fair was, and that's their view of Mount Rainier from the little fountain they built in the middle of it. And all of that is still there. And I got to spend 4 years of my life going to college in a place that was really quite wonderful. The Olmsted brothers designed all of the landscape and all of the pathways and everything to take advantage of the vista of the mountains. So it's a really beautiful campus. And she also sent a rather cute apron, which is fun because I don't know why, but I have a thing for aprons. So there's that one with lots of polka dots. And then this one, it's sort of a his and hers. At least that's how it would have been viewed back in the past. This one, I haven't done any ironing because I'm one of those sticklers. I don't open anything until it's my birthday, so I've waited. But then there's this one, Secret Recipes Chow and How, and it's the backyard barbecuer. So I thought that was really fun. And I definitely, yes, I definitely like it a lot. It's just great. And I will have a lot of fun adding the spoon to my collection. It was a very nice thing to get. A few things that came from some other folks real quickly. I guess I should put on the lay. This and the shirt I'm wearing here came from Naomi Sundholm, and she was so great to spend the weekend with at the Portland show, along with Kat Funk and Corinne Jones. So we had a great time. We'll talk about that in a minute here. Um, we also, I got a really cool handmade card and some things from Carol Sue Pope. I just wanted to show the envelope because I think it's really fun with all those Victorian gentlemen hanging around. And she sent a bunch of stuff. She's an Avon rep, and she sent more of this, which has been really great. She sent me some of this last year when I was recovering, and I'm finding that it's really, really, really good for dry skin. So having fun with that. And she also sent tea, another thing that I got used to when I was having my treatments. And I actually am a tea fan now, thanks to a bunch of you folks. And there were some other things, but the thing I'll show that she loves that I love and a bunch of you love is she sent me a few pieces of costume jewelry, including these ear clips. And these are Italian glass. These are from Murano. And they look like screwbacks, but they actually clip, which people seem to prefer. So I always look for that if I can. And so that's a nice set from the 1950s or 60s. This set also 1960s approximately, and these just have really fun color. I like the way that stone has some difference with the white stripes through it. I thought those were very cute. And then these I think are really great because they are encrusted and they look like they might be by art or some bigger maker. Of course, lots of unsigned pieces were made by good companies and sold by other companies under their name. So just the fact that something doesn't have a signature doesn't mean that it isn't good. And I think these are. So, um, yes, very, very fun. And thank you. And I'm going to actually, no, I'm going to leave the lay on. I'll just get it off of my neck because it's a little scratchy. And Joan Trainer sent me a lovely package and sent it really early, and Lena Ray did too. And I will see all that when I get back to Kentucky because it's there and I'm out west. And I'm going to be out west for a little while longer. I'll be doing an appraisal fair in Centralia, Washington during their Antique Fest. That's 2 weekends from now, the 8th and 9th of August, and halfway between Seattle and Portland, and they have a bunch of people selling stuff out in the streets under tents, and then all the antique shops have sales, and it's a really great event. So if you're anywhere in the area, come on by, say hi, and if you have something you'd like me to look at, I will be glad to take a look and see what you have. We have lots of fun and share lots of great information and good times there. So um, I see a few more of I see a whole bunch of you folks in the chat who I just want to say hi to really quickly. It's faster than I can keep up with, but I see a whole bunch of our favorite folks in the chat and some new folks or people we don't get to see very often. So it's really great to have you here today. And we are going to, well, let's see, we talked a little bit about the state sale that we did, and I want to talk a little bit about Portland because I promised you all that we'd have a little bit of a recap. I mean, there'll be a video and we'll talk more, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened at the Rose City Vintage Show this weekend because it was really fun and a little unexpected. And there were also some things that were trends and things happening that were a little different than has been happening in the market this year. And I thought it'd be interesting for some of you folks who are people who go to a lot of antique shows or hardcore collectors or resellers to hear a little bit about that. Um, so here we are. This is right away on the first day, Laura Caldwell came, and it was really great to see her. We had a really nice moment and got to have a pretty good conversation about life because I hadn't seen her, of course, in 2 years because I was sick last year and couldn't do this show. She brought an entourage with her. She really surprised me. She came with a bus with probably 30 or, well, I'd say 40 people on it, and they ran around and had a scavenger hunt. And one of the things on the scavenger hunt was to take a selfie with me. So I took more selfies with people than I think I've ever taken in my life. But it was really fun. And I got to meet a bunch of new people and a bunch of folks who I'd known before, either from the chat or who'd been to the show before. But people came from all over the country. In fact, I'm going to show you these folks here. If yes. This is Mike and Marita. They are from Florida. They heard about the show through my videos, Laura's videos, and other things they'd seen. And they decided not only to drive all the way from Florida to see the show, they actually came and sold at the show and participated. And they said they had a good show. I mean, it was a really long trip for them because cross country, that's 5 days at least. And I thought I was the nomad and held the record for travel. Not only did they come all the way from Florida, but then she is originally from Australia, and they have antique mall spaces in Australia and spend part of their time there. So they are selling in 2 continents in 2 different hemispheres. So I bow down before them. They are the winners. They get the long distance award. I thought it was me, but they have me beat by a really, really, really long shot, a lot of miles. So I got a kick out of that. But they were really, really fun, and they brought some really cool stuff. And it was great because we got to see things we don't usually see. One of the things they brought was pool pottery. This is really fun stuff if you ever find it. I see it when I'm in Canada. It was made in England, and it was mostly distributed in England, but there are collectors in the US because it is so vibrant and so mid-century and just so incredibly um, uh, just colorful and really fun. And so they brought really, really neat stuff, and that was fun to see something different. The next one is let me find here. They also brought a bunch of this. This is Highland pottery. Highland pottery was made in the Carolinas. Again, very modernist. There are collectors out west, but you don't see it out west that much. You usually see it on the East Coast and in the Southeast because of where it was made. And so it was really fun to see this. And they said they did sell some pieces. It makes sense to me because, again, these are things that collectors desire. Modernists really love, vintage people love. but this is something that is not really seen on the West Coast all that often. So it was really fun to see some different kinds of things come from different places. That's part of what I love about the travel of this, is that you get to go around and find things that wouldn't necessarily be familiar to you otherwise. I'll show a few pictures of some of the things in our space. I did say I'd talk a little bit about mountain market trends. We are having a level 3 chat tomorrow where we'll really take a deep dive into what's happening with the antique market and what's trending and what isn't, but also why maybe you shouldn't care what's trending and you should look for other things. Um, but I will talk a little bit about what we had and the kind of things we sold and the kind of things we didn't sell here, just to give you a little taste of it. Um, this is a shelf full of, on the left is a big Blanco vase. The center piece is also Blanco. That's one of their West Virginia Day vases. There's an art glass piece in front, and I don't think that's one of my Robert Helds. I got a bunch of those recently, but I think that's another one. Uh, then a satin glass swung vase and a Blue Mountain pottery piece. Glass and pottery continue to be really popular, and I'm actually particularly seeing an upswing in pottery interest. Starting to see more people buying that. I think people who've collected glass for a while are now looking for something that is a little more opaque, something to give a little different texture in their decorating, and also because it's just another fascinating field of collecting. So and that chat will be Wednesday for those of you asking. If you're level 3 members, or if you'd like to become one, you can look at the membership information under the dash line in the description of any of our videos and go to a link and find out what that entails. But for those who are level 3 members, we will be having our chat this Wednesday on the 29th, and there'll be a notice out for that. So glass still doing well, particularly mid-century art glass. Sold several smaller swung vases. It was interesting, the larger ones didn't sell as fast. I think some people are running out of room, so they're looking for smaller ones to put around their big ones. Um, as far as ceramics, this is another area in the booth. I just got a big collection of Rosebuild Futura and Muncie Ruborombic and some other really high-end Art Deco American art pottery. This stuff is really scarce. It's hard to find. It's always been expensive. I had a lot of interest in it. I just got it, so I wasn't giving big discounts, so I ended up going home with it. But I did sell some really great pieces of Bower pottery, including one to our friend Miss Wildlife, who got a really great bullet-shaped Bower planter on a cast iron stand that sits about 3 feet tall that was made for it. So that was a great set. And so definitely interest in pottery and interest in things that are not inexpensive. We had 3 colored hen on nests. The blue one was in the middle. It was the one that sold first. Hens on nests definitely are popular, as you've been hearing. They've just really kind of gone nuts. And um, I think that the reason that we are seeing such interest in it is because so many people grew up with them. And so the interest is really high right now, and particularly in the colored ones. Now, the milk glass ones didn't sell. It was only the ones in color. So that was interesting to know. Um, Fenton continues to be popular, particularly the art pieces and the figurines. We sold cats. We sold some hand-painted pieces. We sold some older pieces from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. And then I picked up this grouping here, which I will actually be putting aside to take to take stock. I made a deal with the person selling all of this, and it is all in my box going to the fall show in Michigan in September. So it was nice to find some things that I could take with me as well. Um, this is my friend Kat with the long hair. She came and helped in the booth and sold some things and was just a ton of help. We also had Corinne Jones and Naomi were there, and it was so great to have other people to sell with, and we had a lot of fun. This is an interesting case. This is one thing I've noticed with shows. We're getting more people bringing things to shows to sell to us. And one of our viewers came and she sold this to Corinne, and another viewer bought it 20 minutes later. That's how long it lasted in the booth. But she said that the white opalescent didn't really match her colored pieces, and it stuck out in a way she didn't like for her collection. And so it went to someone else who loves opalescent glass, and it hardly lasted at all. We call that the turn and burn in the antique business, when you get something and you turn it around practically the moment you get it. And it happens more than you might think. So we definitely have been finding a lot of people who are wanting to change their collections, bringing items to a show, selling them to a reseller, and then buying something else. And here is the viewer who it went with. There's Corinne on the left, and that's Reggie on the right. She came up from San Francisco. She's been a part of our group and viewer and a collector for a while, and it was so great that she came all the way up the coast for the show. Like I said, we had customers from Texas, we had customers from Vermont. The people from all over the country came to this, so it was really exciting. Um, I'm noticing somebody in here saying that they found fairy lamps this weekend. And yes, we had a lot of interest in fairy lamps. We sold every single fairy lamp we had, which is why you're not seeing pictures of them here. Signs were also very popular and continue to be. These are real ones. There was one dealer who had some reproductions, and I had to go over with a friend of mine and look at one to make sure that it was not real, because the price was unbelievably low. But we looked at it with a magnifying glass, and we could see that even the damage had been copied and reprinted and had a dot pattern in the part that was supposed to be rust. And so you really want to take your magnifying glass with you when you go to shows and make sure you can inspect things carefully. Um, but I have been really, it has been really good to see that the old vintage signs are selling. I had a really great one that I brought at Springfield for a shoe company, and it sold immediately as soon as the store opened, which was great because it was really big, and I was afraid I wasn't going to get to shop at all because I was afraid if I didn't sell, I would barely get it back in the car. Vintage clothing did very well. There's a lot of it in Portland. There's a lot of interest with it in Portland. I sold a lot of accessories. We sold a fair amount of costume jewelry. And speaking of vintage fashion, look at this young couple. They are living it. And that's another thing that's really fun with shows. I was talking with Jocelyn of Crazy Lamp Lady, and she was saying, I really think the shows are where it's at right now. People are wanting to get out and meet each other and have fun because they developed these collections and this interest, and now they're looking for like-minded people to share it with. And I do think that that's true. I really think the shows are a lot of fun, and they're very vibrant and vital and interesting again. These folks are dressed in authentic late 40s, early 50s attire, and they were so cute that we said, gosh, we've got to get a picture with you. And they were a lot of fun. Pottery, again, this is Roseville, Bonita. One nice thing about this show, because a lot of people came and really stepped up and bought really good stuff, people have been bringing really good stuff to this show. This is a Roseville Bonita Jardiniere. There'd be a pedestal, if you could find it, that would go with this too. And this piece is well over $1,000. It's a very hard pattern to find, and especially in this large size. Let's see here. Um, this is Mindy. She's one of the show promoters. They come all the way up from Palm Springs. They have a show that they do there about 6 or 8 times a year in the fall and winter, and they come up and do this in the summer. And we're just so glad that someone is taking it on, because it's a fantastic place to do this sort of thing. And there's not a ton of shows in the Northwest now, so they're filling a void. Purses sold very well. These are my friend Mary Barbaro. One nice thing about this show is that there's really knowledgeable resellers. I've known her for years, and she knows how to tell real from fake, and she shows you when you walk up and say, gee, is this real? Because she puts a real price on it, and she'll show you why these are the real, authentic, original Yves Saint Laurent and Louis Vuitton and all of that. So purses did very well. Particularly, I sold most of my mesh purses and a number of my Enid Collins. Um, Lucite, I had Beth Kemper, who was here with us, sold me a set of red resin grapes when I was at my storehouse sale in Kentucky, and I brought them, and they are now living in Portland, Oregon. So things make their way around the country. This great cluster lamp is fantastic, and I just love it. I think it's so cool and hard to find in good shape. And I think this one was $300, and honestly, that's about what they're going for now if you can find them. Um, Plushes. I keep hearing, oh, plushes are trending, plushes are trending. I was pleased to see at this show the people who brought plushes and bought plushes brought old ones. They brought Steiff. They brought things that have a name brand. They brought things that were not, no offense to those who collect it, they weren't Beanie Babies. They weren't things they made scads of 15 years ago, and now we're saying they're vintage, but they're really not yet. These are actually old and genuine, and I was really glad to see the market responded to that. That alligator that you see in the back, he's about $150, and he sold, and some of the others as well. So I'm glad to see that people are becoming more knowledgeable and really wanting vintage. Let's see, we looked at the Hyolyn. Is there anything else that I missed that I wanted to show you here? I guess mainly just we just had so much fun. These people actually came from about 100 miles away in Oregon, and they've been viewers a long time, and we've chatted, and we got to meet the first time. And so it's just so much fun to meet in person, and the online world is great. I realize how many wonderful people I've met because of YouTube, and it's really fun when we get to meet in person. So that was the show, and it was fun, and it was good, and I feel like we are really seeing a building of the collector market and a new generation getting interested and getting involved with an older generation whose interest seems to be rekindled. So it was really rewarding and great fun, and it's. I do this for a living, but it's honestly about the people. It's my heart's very full after these events because we just get to have such a good time together. So um, I'm going to quickly throw it open for questions now because after that, we're going to start having a little live sale here. So I'm, I know that we are I kind of missed out. I probably should have had you put them in caps or something, but go ahead in the chat. And if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to talk about now or anything you're wondering about, it's a great time to do it. In the background, while I'm waiting for any to be typed into the comments, we have some glass pieces that I am putting aside for teak stock. I'm already doing that. We've got a Fenton Swung and some Robert Held. I was able to go to Vancouver and buy a bunch of stuff. And so I got a bunch of Robert Held small pieces. And on the other side, an Enid Collins purse that my friend's wife decided after the show that she wants. So I have to get that to her. And a banner signed by one of your champion Seattle Seahawks. Sorry to everybody else who roots for anyone else. Just had to get that in. Let's see here. Here's a couple of questions. When you help with an estate sale, do you get to buy what you want before customers come? That's a really good question. My general answer to that is I don't, because I don't want to take all the best stuff out of the sale and then have everyone else come to see a sale that's obviously been picked over by a bunch of dealers. So I don't typically do a lot of pre-sales or by myself. There are a couple of exceptions, I will be honest. If they have, say for example, we did an estate sale once and they were Hallmark distributors, and they shut the store down in the early 70s and brought the stuff home. They had 50 of those little Snoopy figures, all exactly the same. I thought, you know what, it's going to be okay if I buy 2 or 3 of those, take them to other parts of the country instead of having the entire allotment of them dumped on this market. There's plenty for everybody. So in that case, I didn't feel badly about it. occasionally I will have someone who calls me in to purchase things, and I'll be purchasing and going through with them. And then they'll say, what do we do with the rest of it? And it may be that that turns into an estate sale. So in that case, I might purchase some things because I came in as a buyer and then say, let me help you with the rest as an estate seller. But generally speaking, no, I don't usually do my buying until half off day. And I will tell you about that because some people say, oh, I came back for it at half off. Well, you know what? You took your chance. And if you leave something that's really good for half off, and everyone in town has had a chance to see it because I price really fairly. Everybody always tells me, oh, you price for resellers, you price so I can make money. I come to your sales because I know you're not pricing like a retail store. So if everybody in town has had a chance to see it and they don't grab it and it's going to half off, no, I might take a thing or two because I figure at that point it's fair game. Everyone else has had a chance first, and that's the important point. I don't want any conflicts of interest. That's how I deal with that. And then at the end of the sale, if there's things left, like what we're going to see tonight in our live sale, I will go to the client and say, look, there's a grouping of items I think are appropriate for another venue, and I would be willing to purchase them and we make some sort of an arrangement. Or I'd be willing to sell them for you after the fact and we make some sort of an arrangement. So that's the way that we deal with that. And the idea is to not create a situation where your interests and the client's interests are not the same. The other thing is they're relying on you to price their items fairly. And I've seen estate sale companies that price everything really high and then go back at the end and tell them, well, we didn't sell it, and then they give them nothing for it, and then they go sell it somewhere else. That is absolutely wrong, wrong, wrong. And you should definitely get references before you deal with estate sale companies. Make sure they pay fairly, make sure they price fairly, make sure they account for things reasonably, and you'll be okay. Let's see here. Yes, you can't expect to sell all this stuff in 2 days at retail or even at wholesale because there's so much in a house. At this sale, we sold 80%, I would say. We did a little follow-up video. If you haven't seen it on the main channel, it came out and showed what was left. And it looked like a lot was left in the pictures, but if you realize that the cupboards were completely full and there were 65 boxes in the garage that were no longer there, then you realize, wow, we really sold a lot. It's just when we do an estate sale, as things sell, we keep refilling, we keep bringing it up to eye level. We bring things out of the back of cupboards and put them where people will see them. And so, at the end, it may look like there's a lot of stuff left, but it is just the surface remainder of a very little. Let's see here. Yes, when there was a plethora yes, you were helping organize, and if there was a ton of stuff and it wasn't all going to get done, then yes, sometimes that happens too. Um, don't miss on something you wish you got on the last day. That is a good saying, and I agree because it's happened to me too. And let's see here. We have let me see what else. Estate sale customers hate it when the promised items are right there. Absolutely. I tell the families, you may not take anything out of the house after I take the pictures and put the advertising out because I'm not going to open an estate sale and have people say, I drove here for this. Where is this thing? It's one thing if I can say, well, it's in that guy's hand over there because he got through the door first. It's another thing if I say, oh, I don't know, maybe the family took it. That is bad business and it makes you look bad and it's not fair. So I tell the customer, I tell the clients, make sure you take everything you want out before you give me the key. Is that Betty Page sitting with the clown behind you? It looks like Betty Page. That is actually my friend Stephanie, who I stay with when I'm in Washington State. That is her aunt. Her aunt got a job as the circus assistant in a traveling circus in California back in the 1940s when she was very young. And somebody painted this picture, if you could see it better, and it's hard for me to pull the camera back, so I can't show you, but if you could see it better, she's sitting next to a clown and she doesn't look delighted about it. But she definitely did have a Betty Page look to her because it was the era. Um, and I agree, it is always about the people. Absolutely. Let's see if there's anybody else who has questions here. I'm waiting for questions about Teak Stock. Yes, Teak Stock will be coming the weekend after Labor Day in September, so I can answer that question. And I believe that they do have access to RVs for people who want to stay on site. You can rent an RV and come and put out the canopy and sell. So that'll be fun too. Um, let's see if we have any other questions. Uh, when packing for a long distance show, how do you expect to have damage? I'm concerned about my move to Atlanta. That's a very good question. So I think that some advice I can give you in general, because I know you collect a lot of glass and pottery. One of the best things I ever learned, and I learned it the hard way, is if you have a stack of dishes, pack them on their side. Don't stack them in a stack, because even if you wrap them all, if they're in a stack, just the sheer weight moving around can be enough to break one, and it's usually one in the middle, like some shock force comes through. A second thing I've learned the hard way, don't pack things in round items. I had a cooler, a round cooler, and I thought, oh, I'll just pack some of the stuff in there. There's something about that round that it vibrated, and the vibration just goes round and round and round. And I ended up with broken stuff inside because it was the wrong shape to transmit the shock wave. Weird stuff about physics. I got a D minus in physics in my last quarter of high school. So it's not something I know intuitively, but I have learned on the job that physics actually matter and I should have paid more attention. So, other packing tips for moving, if you're moving yourself, remember whatever you pack, you have to unpack. I actually use less packing material than I used to when it's something I'm carrying myself to a show, because I know I can put it in the box. I'm in control of the box. I'm not throwing it into the back of the truck. It's not UPS where they literally stand on one end of a 40-foot truck and hurl your package through the air, which is why things get broken. So you don't have to wrap it up as tightly as you would if you were actually shipping the thing. I'll wrap something reasonably, pack something next to it. I will pack things inside things to save space, as long as they're padded and won't scratch. Like I had a big swung vase and I put little salt and pepper shakers in it because I could reach my hand down, and I got 10 salt and pepper shakers in a swung vase instead of having to have an extra box for salt and pepper shakers. So there's some things you can do to save space and really wrap things. But if you're the one packing it, if you're taking it with you and you're unpacking it on the other end, don't tape it. I just about went crazy. I have a wonderful fellow. He's a viewer. He is a consigner, and he wraps everything in paper and tapes it, and then wraps everything in bubble wrap and tapes it. And then I'm always worried that I'm going to damage it trying to use the scissors or the knife to cut the tape to get into the object to get it out of 2 layers of wrap. It's more than you need if you're it'd be great if you were sending that thing to Europe. It would get there in one piece. But if you're just taking it yourself, you don't need to do quite that level of heft because, again, you're in control of things. You're going to take reasonable care. So those are some things I would suggest for your packing. And I probably think of other things. So if you want to send me an email, I'll try to give more thought to that. Let's see if there's any other questions that I missed. Am I coming for Fall Springfield Extravaganza? Yes, I am. I will be. So the weekend after Labor Day is Teak Stock. The weekend after that is Springfield, Ohio. I believe that makes it sometime around, oh, it might be the 15th or so of September. You can go to the Springfield Antique Extravaganza. Just put that in a Google search. It'll take you to their website, and I'll have the exact dates. But yes, we will be in front of the dog pavilion. I will be with my friends who I sold with last time, Willie Joe and Beth Kemper and the Wrinkles, and I can't wait. It's going to be really fun. I got a lot of fresh stock. I have bought so much stuff since I got to the Northwest that no one in the Midwest has seen. In fact, no one in the Northwest has seen, because I went to the show this weekend and had 8 boxes I couldn't even unpack. because we were so full. So I will have a lot of fresh stock, and they all will too, and we will have a great time there. Um, how many shows do I sell at in a typical year? I think that's a really good question. Um, in a typical year, I used to do a ton. In Florida, I used to do a show every week from New Year's Day through the beginning of March. So I would do 12 shows in 12 weeks. Now I do a couple of shows in Florida, and that's it. I'm at the point in my, everything changes with time. And after being sick and thinking about, what I want to do, I really love doing antique shows. So I'm trying to pick big ones that a lot of people can get to so I can see a lot of you at once, because there's lots of great little shows, and I recommend them if they're in your area, if you want to attend or if you want to sell, take advantage of that. But at this point, it's such a big production for me, and it's so busy that one or two a month is about right for me. So I'm usually doing two one month, and then I take the next month off and do other things. Then I do two the month after that. So I'm probably doing about a dozen a year, but it's typically clustered, two in Florida in the winter, two in Ohio and Michigan in the spring, two in Portland and Spokane, and we sort of go around the country. And that's also deliberate because I'm hoping to add some other big shows in the future, maybe Round Top, maybe Madison Bookville, maybe Brimfield, and get to meet some other folks in other parts of the country. California has big shows. So I'm trying to space it out a little more time between, and then come with my A game and all of my best stuff. Let's see. Membership is Wednesday, the level 3 chat, and we will be talking about market trends and some of what we discovered at this show this last weekend in a deeper level than what we went over here tonight, amongst other things. Let's see. Other questions. I just got something wrapped in pool noodles. Yes, that is a way, especially art. It's great that you have a newbie coming over. I'm so excited to see stuff like this, that you have somebody new who's interested, and you get to pass on information and your love and enthusiasm. And I just think that's really great. In fact, I honestly think we should have an adopt a collector day, where somebody who's been into this for a long time finds somebody who's interested and shares their stuff with them. Kind of like, take your kid to work day kind of thing. Let's see here. What type of storage box is best for antique fabrics? I used to wash them and purchased archival tissue, and I think that is exactly the right thing to do. You definitely want the archival tissue, because then you can pack in plastic, and I think you'll be okay. Otherwise, you need to pack in something breathable, because if you trap moisture in with your linens in a plastic box, it doesn't matter that the plastic box is sealed. You've trapped the moisture in, and you're going to get spotting and problems. So, especially if you live in somewhere humid, or if for some reason, there's condensation in the box. So, I would say definitely use the archival tissue if they're linens that are important to you and of value. And then after that, a storage box is fine, because you'll have the paper in to take care of any problems that would come from that. Definitely not cardboard, because cardboard, eventually the acids in cardboard that make it brown also leach into prints and pictures and other things. So cardboard is not good long-term storage. Let's see. Yes, you're going to pack everything and then drive another person, driven by another person. Okay, let me get back to this one. So when you're loading the truck, um, or helping load the truck, just make sure everything is really tight so things can't shift a lot. That's the main thing. And don't think you're doing yourself a favor by packing less in a box. I pack my boxes pretty full, because honestly, I want them to have some structural rigidity. And if there's a really big airspace, there's room for things to kind of move and compress. And I find that if the box is fairly full, you don't get that issue, and you don't get things vibrating around. And so I think you'll probably be in okay shape, but I would definitely make sure that they don't leave lots of airspace where stuff's going to slide around or tip or that sort of thing. Let's see. Artiga, let me make sure I got your question. How many spaces? Yes, okay, we got that. When am I back in Kentucky? I will probably make it back to Kentucky around the middle of August. And oh, yes, that's right. Yes, and I will put this up. Angela is a few booths down, and she's got great stuff. You should go see her at Springfield too. And yes, let's see here. Do I watch the Antiques Roadshow? Absolutely. I love it. It's a great show. And I think people misunderstand the show sometimes because they say, well, they put these huge values on it. And are they really getting it? Well, these folks not only are experts, but I was backstage at Antiques Roadshow, and I can tell you, they refer to a lot of information. They do some research. They have people in the back who are actually calling auction houses and specialists who deal in a certain type of thing, and they are finding out. So by the time your item gets on and you're being told about it, they've got a pretty good idea of what the probable auction or value ranges are going to be. So I think they're very reliable for information. They show wonderful things. I've certainly learned a lot from them. Do I find a lot of those things once in a while? But it's great to know about them because if you know about really good stuff, you can judge everything else based on what the really good stuff is. And that's actually really helpful. Let's see. And I can't wait to meet all of you folks who are coming out to all these things too. It's just so great. Um, Here we go. Yes, another. This is good, and thank you for helping each other in the chat. Trevor says Gaylord archival boxes for fabrics are an amazing storage use. That's a good brand name to look for. Are clay pots okay for storage? Um, I'm not sure exactly what you mean in terms of are they okay for storage? Are they okay to be stored? I would say yes. If you use them outside, I would make sure that you pour water out of them. Don't let them freeze over the winter. If they're more valuable or older, you may want to clean them out so they don't get calcification, and you may want to put them someplace safe, maybe in your potting shed for the season if you're using them. If you're using clay pots for storage of food and that sort of thing, if that's what you mean, then I would say really you just want to make sure that you're dealing with something made in the 20th century that's vitrified in a way where you're not being exposed to lead in the glaze. If it's older than that, you may not want to store anything that would absorb out of the glaze. If that wasn't the question you were asking, please try again and I'll try again as well. Um, Let's see thing. I have a tub of crystal glassware. Is that a good seller? I would say, based on my experience this year so far, the answer is mostly no, with a few exceptions. I am starting to see people buying etched depression, elegant depression glass from the 1920s and 30s again. And it may be because I'm talking about it and some other people are too. They haven't made etched of any real significance with the really beautiful, ornate, detailed etches. They haven't done that in decades because it became too expensive. And so it's not going to happen again anytime soon either. And so I am seeing Fostoria June and some of the more elaborate patterns selling again at today's prices. They don't sell as high as they did 30 years ago when they were at a peak, but they are selling. I'm seeing cut glass the same way. It's selling, it's attracting new people and younger people because the prices have been down for a long time and it's really a great value for money. I'm not seeing plain clear glass unless it's novelty or screen painted or something. But if it's just sort of a clear glass depression era pattern or a pressed glass pattern, I'm not seeing a lot of interest in those at this point. Uh, let's see. And prices at auction for the same thing are all over the place. That is true. So it does pay to look at multiple auctions if you have something unusual or expensive. I definitely agree. Um, let's see here. Anybody else? And yes, and that is true. The Antique Roadshow staff are talking about stuff at high-end auction houses, and that makes sense because that's where they are, and that's the world that they live in. And most of the stuff they're looking at is high-end enough that that is where those things should go. So it makes sense that they'd be quoting on that. But your results may be different depending on where you are. So the same thing doesn't always sell for the same amount in the same place. What about Fostoria American? Okay, now that is an exception to the rule. Fostoria American is clear glass, it is fire polished, it is very good quality, and it was one of the most long lived patterns in glass history. It was made for 70 years. Because of that, there's a lot of it around. But I still can sell larger pieces and serving pieces without much trouble. I just bought a bunch of the glass tumblers. I haven't put them out to sell yet. They were $3 each at an estate sale on Kansas City in my way here. And I looked them up and they're selling for 10 a piece plus shipping online, which means they'd sell for about 12 to 15 in an antique store, and that's pretty much the price they've been for the last 30 years, but they do sell. So Fostoria American, yes. Now make sure you're looking at real American. I don't have examples here to show you, but Indiana Glass made American Whitehall, which was pressed and not fire polished, and it looks somewhat similar, but it's not the same quality and it doesn't sell. Is depression coming back? Depression glass coming back? Depression glass is starting to come back. Obviously, the green, because of the uranium, is selling well and briskly at good prices. The other colors of depression glass, I'm starting to see interest in pink and the yellows and the azure blue, which are harder to find. I'm not seeing a lot of interest in the iridized like the carnival glass or the clear yet at this point, but I am seeing a rebound in the colored pieces. And I noticed Martha Stewart had them in her magazine as one of the up and coming collectibles. Which kind of gets us into the trending thing again. And that's going to be something we're going to explore more on our level 3 chat on Wednesday. But I will just say to all of you, buy what you like because you like it. If it's trending and that means you have to up for it, well, you know what? That's the price of getting to have it now. Maybe it'll be cheaper later, maybe it won't. If it's something where you're reselling, buy it if it's a good deal, but remember that what goes up must come down, and it is not a guarantee that because fairy lamps are really popular right now and selling for big prices that they always will. So buy smartly. Buy because you would buy this at this value regardless. I see people, and I'm just going to say this once because it's true and I think it's really dangerous. I see a lot of sellers on Whatnot or other places where, especially when they're doing trains, oh, today's train is cats. I need to go out and buy every cat object I can find. Well, this one's $20, but it sells for 25, and that's not much profit, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to sell it and I really just need it because I need cats, so I'm just going to buy it. That gets you into trouble. I can attest to this because I was doing glass shows and I was going out and buying depression glass and Roseville pottery and paying above way above wholesale, close to retail, because, well, I can turn it fast. And then all of a sudden, a lot of the collectors who had that stuff finished their collections, and I was stuck with a bunch of stuff I paid way too much money for and wasn't selling for as much as I paid for it anymore. And that was a big, bad lesson. So, again, buy what you like as a collector when you want it because that's a collection. As a reseller, buy what makes sense relative to the value you're going to get for it and don't get caught up in trends. That's all I can say. um, I don't know that I will be able to get a hold of those, but Ruth, please keep that thought. One thing about the level 3 member chats is that I do take requests for topics from members. So if you are a member or decide to become one and you have an idea for a topic you'd like to see covered in a deep dive, let me know. And at some point, probably making some of those pattern comparisons would be a good subject for that. I wonder who is stuck with top of the market swans. Well, you know what? The funny thing is that the market is still really good for them. I was in Springfield in May and I had 10 and I have two left. And the only reason I have two left is because we already had some out on the table at the Portland show, so I left mine under the table and didn't put them out. They're still selling, and yes, a few people probably paid a really, 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 really high price because they wanted it right now. But they're still pretty darn hot. Okay, well, with that, I don't see any other questions. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the sale. We've got a baker's dozen items. We're going to try to get through them in an hour, so I know that that's kind of speedy. So let me talk a little bit about how the sale works. If you're in the chat, you are able to bid, and you just put the number you want to bid in the chat, and I'll be following it along, and we'll try to put the number on the screen so that everybody knows what the high bid is at any given point. Each one is going to be two different items, and it will be the choice between the two for the high bid. So if you bid $10 and that's the high bid, you get the choice between one or the other. If you decide to take both, they're both yours. If not, the backup bidder, the person who bid second highest, will have a chance to get the item at the high bid price if they choose to take it. I will put up on the screen, and maybe this will stay up. Yes, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to let this run because I've had trouble. I've had a few people who are new to this who didn't understand that you do need to contact me after the show to let me know if you were the high bidder, because I have to be able to get your information and I have to be able to invoice you and figure out shipping and the cost and all of that. So um, please do go ahead and give me that information when you can. So I'm going to let that run one more time and then I'll take that down and we'll get started here. And like I say, everything in tonight's sale is something that came from the estate sale we did, because we had we had the storehouse sale, and a bunch of you folks said, oh, well, we don't all get to go there. Could you sell some things? And I did, and everyone had fun with that. So I thought, well, let's do that with this estate sale too. So our first round is going to be a choice between two prints from the 1920s. These are very sweet childhood prints. And we're going to, I guess I should say, we're going to start everything off tonight at $5 opening bid. So whoever's interested, you just put the number in and that is your bid, and we'll go from there. And when the bids slow down, if you decide you're out, let us know and we'll wrap up the bids and move on to the next things. So this is choice of these two prints. They both measure roughly 8 by 10 in their frames, and the color is strong, and they are children's prints from the 1930s. And this is one, I really like this because she's playing with a toy on one of those old metal-legged tables. And look at the toy she's playing with. That is actually a roly-poly of the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. So we know that this is going to have come out sometime around 1940. And so I thought she was just really adorable. And the other one is this one. This is a very famous one, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's the little girl looking at the bluebird in the tree. And I was really happy that the two of these are both in really good condition with great color and no damage, no fading, no damage to the frames, original frames from the era. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the chat here. Whoops, how to get to the chat. Starting price by prints. Okay, so there we go. All right. I'll hold these up again where you can see them properly. Thank you. Song of the Bluebird. Thank you. Yes, that's right. It is Song of the Bluebird. Um, I don't think this one is a Bessie Pease Gutman. It certainly has some of her qualities and her look, but I don't believe she's the artist of that one. Her backgrounds usually are not as detailed. If I'm wrong about that, someone let me know in the comments, but I think it's another artist. And this will be for choice. We've got Willie Joe at $5 and now Carolyn at $10 for choice. And we will combine shipping if you're not in this area, or if you're in the Northwest and you're coming to the Antique Fest in Centralia, or you want me to leave this off for you to pick up at one of my locations here, I can do that as well. So Zula Kenyon, Peter says, and I think that's correct. I believe I've seen this framed where you could see that signature. I do believe it was Zula Kenyon. So $10 is our current high bid. If anyone else is in, let us know. And that is for choice, one or both. I'm going to go ahead and pop that back into the, so you can see on screen here. And like I say, we're going to move along fairly quickly. So if anyone else is interested, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up and move on to our next round here. I like that dress and the apron and the shoes. They're just really cute. There was a lot of really cute stuff in this estate. Willie Joe, $12 for choice. Carolyn, let us know, or if anyone else is interested, let us know. And, you know, when I look for these, I definitely, those are the things I look for. I look for color. You want to make sure it wasn't in a hot, sunny place for a long time. Carolyn now at 15, and I believe that is going to make her the winner. We're going to go ahead and put in sold. And Carolyn, let us know in the chat if you're interested in the girl in green or the Zula Kenyon with the bluebird. And $15 choice is your final amount. And I'm going to go ahead and set these down and we'll get ready for the next one while we let Carolyn tell us in the chat. If Carolyn doesn't take both, then Willie Joe will have the option for the backup. And let's see, the blue one. Okay, very good. I will make a note. And Willie Joe, if you're interested in the girl with the green dress with the Tin Man, let us know, and that one is available to you. Okay. Let me, here we go. Our next round, you would like the Tin Man. Okay, very good. Okay. Our next round, this is going to be choice, and again, $5 starting bid on everything tonight. These are QBs, and these are Japanese from the 1950s and 60s. And I really should hold them so they're looking at each other, shouldn't I? There we go. These are porcelain. They are porcelain bisque, and they're really nicely hand painted. And much like the original, let me see here. Much like the original, you will see little wings on the back of this one who is seated. And these were by a company named Kelvin. Sometimes you will see the Kelvin's logo on the bottom, and it will be very similar to this logo. My lights are a little bright. There we go. It'll be similar to this logo, but it will actually say Kelvin's in a script very similarly to the way that Lefton is written in a script on theirs. So I will put in QPs, 5 each choice. And yeah, I think they're very cute. They're about 4 inches long, and I always make sure that everything is right with them. Fingers, toes, wings, the curl on the top of the head. Of course, these came out originally in around 1910, and Rosie O'Neill was the one who was famous for producing them. And she ended up having them made in Europe, and they ended up being a really, really big deal. And so the QP craze has continued really up until this day. And I just think these are really cute. I always make sure that they have a nice pink tone to them. You'll see some that were kind of cheap that look kind of whitish, and they're just not as good. I just really like the quality of these, and I'm particular about that. Oh, yes, the handbag behind me is an Enid Collins that actually a friend of mine from college, his wife has decided she wants that. So Had to bring it in. So $5 each for choice with Sarah is our starting bid. If anyone else is in, let us know. I like the fact that they have the pupils in the eyes too, a little bit of extra. And that thing where the baby is playing with its feet, which we've all seen babies do. Sure, we all did that at one time. And yes, yes, I see Grandma's Gonna Flip would love to meet Laura and Jesse, and they really are fun, and they were really great to see again. And I know it's a waste for you. I was sorry not to see you at the show, but we'll hope to see you next time. $5 choice each on the Cubies with Sarah. If anyone else is interested, let us know. And then we will go from there. Condition is great on everything tonight. I tried to be very careful to make sure everything that we're showing you is something that is in good condition and no problems. And I'm going to set those down for just a moment. Make a note here. And so $5 with Sarah. If anyone else is in on this, let us know. Like I said, we're going to move pretty fast tonight because I have birthday celebrations to have, and also because I just want you to get to see a lot of stuff. So if anyone else is in, let us know. This is last call. Otherwise, we're going to sell these for Sarah to Sarah for $5 each. And make a note here. And I think that I think Sarah, that's it. They are for you. So let us know, Sarah, if you want one or both. You may have either or both, and you can just let us know in the chat. All right. Yes, yeah, Rosie O'Neill did a bunch of cool covers and illustrations for people over the years, and Sarah says she'll take both. That's great. Okay, they are for you. Our next round, we'll do another kind of warm up here. I think these are really fun. And again, $5 opening bid on everything. These are salt and pepper shakers. We had a big collection of salt and pepper shakers at this sale, and I wanted you folks to get a chance at a couple of them, so we pulled these and set them aside for this, and they're pretty different from each other. So $5 each, again, opening bid on the salt and peppers, and we have a choice here, and these, as you see on the bottom, are going to say made in Japan, and so these are actually 1930s, and they are mice with berets. They look a lot like Beswick Beatrix Potter figures to me, actually, which I think is really fun. And yes, I see you folks eyeing the milk glass behind. That'll be a teak stock. $5 for Death Valley Finds for choice. Thank you. So these are the little mice, very 1930s colors, especially the orange and yellow and the bright green together, all hand painted. The other choice are these. These are by Vernon Kilns, and this was their classic salt and pepper shaker shape with the S and the P in the top for the holes. And these have their, well, one has their cork. Corks are pretty easy to find. These are not marked Vernon Kilns, but they didn't mark all of their shakers. They marked most of their wear. This went along with one of their dinnerware lines with the green and yellow and brown stripes in the 1940s, so sort of between Art Deco and Art Moderne. And I always thought that they were really cute. Are they mice? Yes, the other ones are mice. I will hold them all up together so you can see all of them. And we have mice here and shakers here. These ones kind of look like schmooze, actually. So mice and schmooze. Schmooze for you folks who know Little Abner and the story of the schmooze. So we've got $5 each for choice here. And if what kind of cheese they like, brie because they're French. Of course, yes, that's right. Yes, little French mice. French mice from Japan. So, okay, Death Valley Finds has $5 choice. Anybody else out there, let us know. And yes, they do look like they're wearing berets to me, because where the holes for the salt and pepper to come out, you see that's the little knob on the top of their little hats. Wee wee. So $5 each for choice. Let us know if anyone else is interested. Otherwise, we'll move on, because we have some other stuff here coming up I think you will like. And I'm going to go ahead and set these down. There we are. And okay, we don't have any other bids. I'm going to go ahead and sell these. And Death Valley Finds, let us know if you are interested in the mice with the berets, the Vernon kilns, or both sets. And then we're going to go on to, oh, these are kind of fun. Let's go with these. Okay, the mice for Death Valley Finds. Very good. All right, our next selection here. Now, this one, a lot of what we have tonight is on the smaller side, but this is a little bigger because this is a whole set, and I love that it's never been used and it's in the original crate. These are, of course, Mickey Mouse glasses, and it looks like Mickey is he wrestling? He's some sort of a weightlifter, bodybuilder kind of guy, and they are fans cheering him in the background. I think this is just really fun. This is from about 1980, and it has its original box. These are 4 iced teas, the heavy base, and these were done by Anchor Hawking. And it says so right there. And it's when they went to their square label, so sometime in the 1980s. And yes, Jack LaLanne, Mickey Mouse, exactly. I'm glad Jason went to bed. That's funny. Yes, I kind of figured he might like these. So, again, $5 is the opening bid, and $5 opening. Oops, bid Mickey. We'll just put that in there. But there's 4 of them. They're in great shape. They've never been out of this, so they've never actually been used. And I think because they're new old stock, that these are something that a collector of Disneyana will probably really enjoy. And there is the top. I was just happy to see ones like this that were really clean, because a lot of time with these things that were done for children, they got used, they got dishwashed to death. You'll have a set and 3 of them will be unusable, and you end up with one. Okay, Stephanie is in at $5. He just needs the blue jumpsuit. That's a fact. Thank you, Stephanie, for getting us going there. Now, Sarah with $8. And also, because these are packed the way they are, we'll make sure we put a lot of foam between these and pad them really well, that we should be able to send them in a box not a whole lot larger than this, so I don't think the shipping will be terrible. Okay. Sarah was at 8, Ruth at 7, Death Valley Finds at 9, Stephanie is out. Thank you, and let us know, everybody else. So we've got $10 current high bid with Death Valley Finds. And again, like I say, we will combine shipping, so if you get multiple items, this is probably the largest thing we have, and most things are small or not really breakable, so the shipping shouldn't be too bad. Ruth and Stephanie are out. Sarah, let us know. The current bid is $10. And anyone else, let us know as well. Sarah is out. Okay, very good. If anyone else is in, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to sell these. But we are at $10 with Death Valley Finds. Immaculate condition. I mean, definitely a great price. And I'm happy to, you know, I figure my birthday, but I'll bring the presents. Okay, anybody else? Let us know. Don't need any more stuff. I know we all hit a point where we start upgrading our collections because that's the thing you have to do. Um, so Ruth, Sarah, okay, I think we're going to go ahead and sell this to Death Valley Finds then for $10. We'll set that aside. And I will make a note of that. Um, our next round here, we have choice again. And one of the things that's in choice, and I didn't mention this earlier, but one of the things in the choice tonight is something that we are seeing a big sudden uptick in interest in, and that is egg cups. For some reason, people are really interested in egg cups and butter pats right now. And again, it may be something to do with size. They fit in a small space, they're fun. This pair certainly is fun because they have these little faces on them. These are Japanese, and they're going to date to sometime in the 1960s. There's the base, possibly early 70s. They probably had a blue oval logo that said Japan on them originally. But one is sort of a redhead and one is a blonde. So that's one, or the other choice, it's kitchen stuff this round, is this. And this rooster is Lefton. And this one has a really good paper label on the bottom. And the other thing I liked about this is it's in really good condition. A lot of times when you have these little pieces here, you've got little chips on the ends or little bits that are worn off, or somebody didn't understand that the red paint isn't fired under the glaze, so they scrubbed it really hard and it's worn off. And this one's really in great shape. And it has the Lefton's mark. And we know from this Lefton mark that this is 1960s or early 70s because shortly after this, they switch all the production to Taiwan and Korea. So this is Japanese. We've got Jan at $5 per choice. Thank you for opening our bidding, Jan. So, so the choice is the two egg cups together or the rooster, or of course both. So $5 per choice is the current bid. And I think kitchen and kitsch just go well together. They even sound the same. But it is fun, and you know, there's things you can use every day. I know people using egg cups for not so many Americans eat poached eggs. It's more of an English thing, and in Canada and the Commonwealth. But I know people who are using them for little plants. They're using them as ring holders by the sink. They're using them on dressers. It seems like they're very versatile and they're cute. And I think that's why they're suddenly taking off. Ruth at 8 for choice. Now Jan for 9. Now Ruth for 10 for choice. Your grandmother has a larger and more painted version of the rooster. Yes, that's true. These did come in other sizes. This one is about 5 inches. I've seen them as tall as 10, and then they have a little bit more detail. But really, the detail on this one for being small is pretty good. You see the claws and all of the marks on the legs and the feet and the detail in the grass reeds. And of course, this was all back when they had somebody on a line actually hand painting these things, which just doesn't happen anymore. Let's see. Jan is at 11 for choice and Ruth is out. If anyone else is in, let us know. Otherwise, we will move on to another round. So Jan is the high bidder at $11 per choice. I'm going to go ahead and set these down. And I think we are closed out here. So I'm going to hit sold. And Jan, if you'll let us know if you're interested in the egg cups or the rooster. And then if you just take one, we'll let Ruth have the option of the other piece. So we'll wait for you to let us know. And while we do that, we'll get ready for our next round. Our next round is going to be the egg cups are for Jan. Okay, very good. Ruth, if you were interested in the rooster, please let us know at $11. That could be yours. And our next round Now this one, again, we're starting at $5, but these are pretty good, and I think you're going to enjoy them. And yes, Ruth would like the rooster. That's great. Well, that worked out well. So, got it. Okay. This next round are two paperweights or art glass miniatures, and they're both really cute for different reasons. The heart is Robert Held, and a lot of people have gotten interested in collecting Robert Held ever since he retired and closed his studio on Vancouver Island in British Columbia about 4 years ago. And because this stuff is no longer in production, there's suddenly a big collector interest in it. And this is one of his hearts. You can see the pontil mark on the back, and there is a signature, but it's very small and hard to see on the camera there. But he did a lot of this really nice iridescence that you see, and he tended to do things that had a certain amount of a scramble or an asymmetric design in them. So you have that black tracery and then the uh, everything that you see there with the iridescence. And again, we're still just starting these at $5 each. Robert, and I'll just say paperweights because you'll see what the other ones are. And I see Death Valley Finds and then Corinne at $10 each. And the other one is this one. This one is Hadeland, and this is a seal. And it is crystal clear and has the most wonderfully cute etched face and whiskers. And it's just so smooth and so streamlined. And there is the acid mark for Hadeland, which is a Swedish maker on the bottom of that. So we have this very cute, very modern, very streamlined seal, or the Robert Held heart. And our current high bidder is Death Valley Finds was in at $12 each, $12 for choice first. Now Connie Jean, nice to see you here, $15 each for choice. And I know that we've got Corinne now at $20 for choice. I had the good fortune after I got this piece from the estate of going to Vancouver and finding some different Robert Held items as well. Okay, Death Valley Finds is out. Maggie now at $22 for choice. So we've got interest in these, and I figured we would because they are really fun pieces, and there's so much interest in glass right now. Art glass really is beautiful. It's so malleable. You can make it into any sort of a shape, and I think people really just enjoy that so much. So the Robert Held or the Seal currently at $22 for choice. Corinne is out. Connie Jean now $25 for choice. And yes, look at that little face. Love Seal. See, there it is right there. Okay. And now Angela at $26 for choice. It's going to be fun having Angela just down the row from us at Springfield in September. And we will no doubt have a lot of fun art glass there and a lot of fresh stuff. I'm really excited to have found so much in the Northwest that I can bring to the Midwest, just like I brought things from there to here. It's fun to take things from one part of the country and show a whole new group of people. All right, Maggie is out. Connie Jean, thank you, Maggie. Connie Jean now $28 for choice between the Robert Held and the Hadeland Seal, and Angela at 30. Great green tone to this as well. And the funny thing is they don't weigh much, but when you hold them out at arm's length for a while, it feels like a workout. Okay, Connie Jean is out, so we're going to go ahead and sell these to Angela at $30 for choice. So Angela, let us know if you are interested in the Robert Held or if you're interested in the Seal or both. And I will make a note that you got it. And then if you end up with one, we'll give Connie Jean the option on the other piece. Okay, she'll take the Robert Held heart. Connie Jean, if you're interested in the seal, it is still available. Let us know. And there we go. Oh, and I see that someone's already sent their email and information, and I really appreciate that. I will put that up on the screen again right here, because if you are the buyer, we do need you to reach out to us at the antique nomad at gmail.com and just let us know so that we can get your stuff packaged into you. I'll be working on that later this week. Okay. Um, let's see. Oh, I think these will be cute next, just for fun. So next round we have two tins, and I think that they're really fun and something a little different that you might enjoy, and we'll put them up. One of them has a secret, so we'll show you these first and then tell you about that. So the choice of tins are going to be an English candy tin or this rather old tin with it looks to me like a screen painted decoration but on black. So this is something I associate with the early 1900s. And each of them have something interesting about them. The interesting thing on this English piece, which should have been done about, I would say, looking at the bottom, this is similar to the ones we see from England from about 1970. This one has a really cute picture of a woman sitting out at the beach and she's enjoying her Swiss cream caramels. And I think that's just such a great graphic. And a lot of people are using these for jewelry boxes or other displays, so I thought she was appropriate. This one, on the other hand, when you open it up, it has a surprise because somebody used it in the past to hold their pens. And so the black one has this pen in it. It is actually a little dip pen, and it's got the nib that comes out, and they apparently just thought that this was a great little place to keep it. So that's going to come with it. That will actually be included with the piece. So the black tin plus the pen nibs is one piece, and the candy tin is the other, and we'll go ahead and put $5 start tins. I think I said tines. That's not correct, but you know what I mean. So tins, $5 each to start. Yeah, I think the black one is cool too, Scott, because it has such a bright pattern and on black. We think that black was only used in kitchens starting in the 1980s, but actually in the 1880s, 90s, and early 1900s, you saw black. And then it became popular to use light colors because everybody got concerned about everything being sanitary. So then you didn't see black used in kitchens for years. But I think it's really great because it's really striking. And again, this one comes with the writing utensil as part of the deal. And then the other one is the English tin. We have a $7 bid with Carolyn, by the way. And the other one, of course, is the English one for a company that had been around since the 1890s. And I just think she's very sweet and choice. So somebody will have a good use for these. It seems like collectors really like boxes these days. I think people are trying to enjoy their collections and have all their little things sort of organized and in places where they can find them. I think we actually, I hate to say it, but I think we have the pandemic to thank for that, because I think a lot of us, well, we were on that break, got our houses organized in a way that they'd never been before. At least I can say I did. The flowers remind you slightly of autumn leaf. Yes, there's somewhere between Hall's autumn leaf and Hall's crocus pattern. They definitely have that look, I agree. Ruth now $8 for choice. So Carolyn or anyone else, let us know. And Carolyn now $10 for choice. Yes, I remember as a kindergartner, we were made to take these candies in these English boxes, and sell them door to door as a fundraiser for our parochial school, and the tins were really the attraction. And once you ate the candies, you knew why. Although Heaton's caramel actually sounds pretty good to me. And now $11 and $12 is our current bid. And yes, you're right. Great to hold band-aids. It is the exact right size. Okay, Ruth is out. Carolyn is in at 12. If anyone else is interested, we're going, gone here. So speak now or forever hold your peace, because we're going to sell these. $12 each is the current high bid. I'm going to set these aside and ready, everybody? Okay, we are sold. And the cool round tins with the hard lemon drops and nice tin designs. Yes, I collected those when I was a kid. It was a big deal. We'd go to Seattle and the import shops would have the English import shop on the pier would have them, and we would think we were very sophisticated going home with those. All right, so Carolyn would like the caramel lady. All right, Carolyn. And so Ruth, if you are interested in the black box with the pen inside, let us know because that one is available to you. She'll take it. Okay, that was fast. $12. Very good. All right, we had a lot of interest in figures at the sale this weekend in Portland, and I actually was really pleasantly surprised how many figural pieces sold. Um, this round, we have a choice here. It's again going to be between a salt and pepper shaker and another figure, but the salt and pepper shakers are really great because they're these little caterpillars by Rio Hondo Pottery of California. And I know I've got some Rio Hondo collectors out there. You can see the holes in the top. Rio Hondo was a California company that made ceramics between, I think, the late 30s and the late 50s in the town of Rio Hondo. And you can identify them by the way they hand painted the eyes. And I like this because you've got one sleeping and one with the eyes open, and just great markings. And again, $5 each is the starting bid on these. So I will put 5 each start figures. The other one is this little bird. This little snowbird is actually Lomonosov Russian porcelain from the Russian, it was the Royal Factory Porcelain of Russia, and eventually was named Lomonosov after one of the Soviet era folks, and has recently gone back to its original name. But there is the mark. And it's really good to know this mark because there's a lot of Lomonosov figures that started appearing here in the 1970s during the era of détente and on from there. And a lot of people don't recognize this mark, so they just think it's some sort of an Asian thing. And these actually are very good quality European. We have $5 choice with Sarah, now 10 with Carol Sue, now 12 with Really Joe, now 15 with Carol Sue. So the Lomonosov bird, very cute, very nicely done. The painting is all really detailed. The tail is in really good condition. And I actually saw one of these sell at the Portland Antique Show for $30 this weekend. So it's actually a pretty good little piece. And it's choice between the bird or the worms, who are looking a little nervously at the bird because I'm sure the bird thinks they're delicious. So uh, we have we have potential incompatibility here, but I think they're all very cute. Willie Joe is out. Sarah is out. Wayne is in at $18. Hello, Wayne. Nice to have you here. Carol Sue is out. So, well, that was fast. I think that I think Wayne has snatched the bid. So I'm going to go ahead and close it out here unless anyone else jumps in. So we're going, gone here, folks. We are at $18 bid. If you're still in, let us know because it looks like these are going to go to Wayne otherwise. And I'll set them aside here. And We are okay. Sold to Wayne for $18 choice. Wayne, let us know if the Rio Hondo Caterpillar Salt and Pepper are up your alley or the Lamanasoff Bird. Of course, you have the option of taking both. And thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's see. Okay, so Wayne is going to take the bird, and so the backup bidder was Carol Sue Pope. Carol Sue, we still have the Rio Hondo Salt and Pepper Shaker available to you if you are interested in them. Let us know in the chat. And let's see who our backup after Carol Sue was. It was Willie Joe. So, okay, we'll let Carol Sue let us know, and then if not, pass on that. Willie Joe, if you're interested in the Rio Hondo, let me know in the chat. Okay, I think we will do. Oh, this is fun. Again, some more fun childhood stuff that we had in this estate. And this is going to be a choice, kind of an odd choice, but I wanted to have two choices for you. And let me make a note. Willie Joe would like the Rio Hondo. We'll make a note of that. And I can bring that to you in Kentucky if you don't want it shipped. Okay. So our next round is going to be childhood related, and we have a very fun 1930s print or a pair of baby shoes, and I'll have to show you the baby shoes because they're pretty cute. $5 each opening bid on these. I'll show you the print first. Again, you look at those colors and also the style with the children. It looks like they are from the continent of Europe. This is the sort of style print we see very popularly in the 1930s. It's about 6 inches by 5 inches in overall size. And it's a little dark in here, believe it or not. I'm trying to read this for you. Ah, okay. Yes, the signature is Delphina Legrand in the corner there. So that's our artist. So this is a very sweet little picture with really great color from a children's room or a kitchen back in the 1930s and 40s. The other choice is this. You see the J.C. Penney's box, you see the modernist printing on it, shoes for the formative years, and the baby playing with it. But it's got the box, and when you open the box, it's got the original sales slip and these really, really cute. Oh, not just that, but also the note telling you that the shoes have been sanitized for better, cleaner wear. And then you get the shoes out, and the shoes are just darling because they are little saddle shoes. So this is the choice, the saddle shoes in the box or the Dutch print. And I will put in the comments here that we are at 5 opening bid, shoes or print. Okay, we'll hold those up again. So I know that it's certainly possible that somebody might put these shoes on a child again, but usually they go on dolls or they go in displays because they are indeed adorable, as Deej says. And Stephanie is opening our bidding at $5, Carolyn at 6, so $6 for choice now. And yes, some of you are saying these are very familiar shoes to you, and you might have grown up with them. Stephanie at 7. And with the shoes again, and they are really cute, Lisa, I agree. They do come, like I say, with the original box and all the information. And I assume looking at the box and the sales slip, these are probably 1960s and, well, actually, no, looks earlier. Here's the sales slip, 1952 up in the corner. And then you see on this little slip, All JCPenney shoes are sanitized, and they tell you all about it. Now we've got Carolyn at Stephanie at $9 each. Now Carolyn, $10 each for choice. And there's even a measuring chart inside. I just like that they had the box and the box was in good shape. I thought that made it really a little more interesting. And now Stephanie at $11 per choice. And then on the print, the other thing I can show you about the print is it is all original in the back as well, all of the backing and the wire and everything. Carolyn is out at 11. So Stephanie is the high bidder. If anyone else is in, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to close this one out. I promised you I was going to move fast tonight, even though we're having fun. I just want you to get to see a bunch of stuff. So we'll set these aside. We are going, gone. If anybody else is in, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to shut this out. Your mom wanted black and white saddle shoes, and you wanted ruby patent leather Mary Janes. Ooh, wow, that's, I don't blame you because you want ruby slippers. Makes sense to me. You had to wear lace-up brown jumping jack shoes. Yes, yes. I don't remember cute shoes as a child either. My parents did buy me little cowboy boots when I was 5, and I outgrew them so fast that they never did that again. All right, we're going to sell these to Stephanie. And Stephanie, let us know in the chat if you're interested in the shoes or the Dutch print or both. And we'll make a note of that. Both, please. Okay, very good. She gets both. And let's see, we have more fun things to come. We've got at least 4 more rounds here, I think. Yeah, I see 4 more. This next round, I really think these are great, and I'm going to show you, and we'll find out what you think. But these are both vintage, and these are going to date, likely, in the case of the Sailor, probably 1940s, and in the case of Little Lulu, maybe around 1960. And again, $5 each for the opening bid here. I will make a note of that. 5 each. I'll just call them dolls, although they're not exactly just dolls, because they're characters. The Sailor is a Nora Wellings doll. Nora Wellings designed these in the 1930s, and then they sold them on ships. So you see this one, and I believe this one says Arcadia. So that was the vessel this was sold on in one of their gift shops at some point. And he's great because he's wearing his blue dungarees and the whole bit, although they're actually level. And we've got Deej at $5 opening bid. Thank you. And he's in great shape. It's important to be able to at least a little bit read the name of the ship on there, which you can. He doesn't have any tears. He's in pretty good shape. He's not losing any stuffing, and he's clean. And so is she. And this is little Lulu. And this one has a good tag on it. The face is printed, and all of the hair is made. And that kind of worked for little Lulu because of the way that she was drawn. The illustrator of little Lulu started during the Second World War, and at first little Lulu never said anything. She didn't talk. It was all done just through expression, and it was really very cute. And then it really caught on. Now this one says Hallmark cards because before the Snoopy and Peanuts figures became the thing that was sold by Hallmark, Little Lulu was one of the things that they sold a lot in the 1960s. So we've got Deej at $5 per choice. And if anyone else is interested, let us know in the comments. But I just thought they were really fun. And little, my mom, her middle name was Lou, and so her sisters all called her Lulu because she was old enough that she was a little girl when little Lulu came out, and it used to enrage her. So we ended up with a house full of little Lulu items that her sisters would send her all through her adulthood to remind her of those happy times, which I thought was really funny. Hello, we've got Leanne at 10 and Deej now at 11 for choice. And the Nora Wellings dolls, I have to be honest, I've never had this one. This was not one in my mom's collection, so I don't really know what these run online. I know the Nora Welling dolls usually sell in the $20 to $30 range now, unless they're from a particularly unusual ship. There's a few ships that sunk or were lost or had some illustrious thing behind them where they sell for more. 13 now with Leanne for choice. But both of them very clean, very cute, and they really spoke to what this particular my friend who was the dealer whose house items we sold. She really loved kids. She loved childhood stuff, and she just had a very youthful and fun vibe to her whole life. So you can have your childhood back, and there's lots of great stuff to do. Leanne at 15 for choice, and that puts Deej out. So we'll go ahead and sell these to Leanne. And Leanne will let you know, let us know in the chat whether you're interested in the Nora Welling doll or Little Lulu or both. And if you're interested in one or the other, then we'll give Deej the backup on that. So let us know in the chat. And while you do that, I'll make a note of it. Okay. I think we'll just keep going in the order we have this. Oops. We'll give Leanne just a second to catch up with us on which one she wants. And then we'll bring up another round. I'm so glad to have all of you with me. I think we have over 100 of you with us tonight, and thank you so much for joining me. And we're going to have a few more rounds of sales here. I've been really enjoying bringing you things every month, and I like this the last couple of times we've been able to bring you things from events we've had so that we can bring the event to you if you can't come to the event. And we'll try to keep doing that. Leanne, let us know in the chat when you can as to which ones are of interest to you. And we'll go ahead and show the next round while you do that. The next round are oh, yes, you did. Okay, let me... Okay, Lulu is yours. I'll put that in so that when her buffering stops, then she'll know that she's the winner of Lulu. Deej, if you are interested in the Nora Welling Sailor, please let us know in the comments, and that one can be yours. And I'll make sure that we get Lulu to the right place. Okay, and Deej passes on that, so we'll leave Nora Wellings. Okay, so our next round, these are wooden things, and they're miniatures, but they're interesting for various reasons, I think. So we'll put them up, and the nice thing is they don't eat much and they don't take much space. Plus, I think they're kind of cool. This is going to be, oh, you'll take the sailor too. Okay, great. I'll make a note of that. Okay, I've got you, Leanne. We'll get you both pieces. Okay, so our next round, wooden items in miniature, $5 each is the opening bid. And what we have are Japanese lanterns or this interesting shoe, and I'll show you. They both actually are functional in a way that is not necessarily obvious. So these Japanese pieces are painted, they're turned wood, and they're scenic, and this is, yes, a salt and pepper shaker, believe it or not, made to look like lanterns, made in Japan in the 1950s, and they do have the Japan mark on the bottom. And I just think they're really cool because they show, it looks, you can tell it's Japan because you see pagodas and things, but so much of the landscape looks a lot like here in the Northwest with lots of big coniferous trees and mountains and water and all of that. So, and I think they're just a really cool shape. So they were something a little different. And then the other item, also made of wood. Now this one is actually from Eastern Europe, and this is a little shoe done as a pin cushion. And you see the paint on there. I believe that this one is actually from one of the Slovakian countries, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't look like rose malling. I don't believe it's Nordic. But it's really great because it's a shoe, and the idea was that you could put a thimble in there, or maybe a couple of little hooks and that sort of thing, and then you have this for your pin cushion. So the choices between the pair of shakers and the pin cushion, and I'm going to go ahead and put in again $5 each is our start. So 5 each, pin cushion or lantern, S&P. Yes, I noticed something at the show this weekend, and that was that people were either looking for really big, cool, showy statement pieces, or they were looking for really small things that they could fit into collections that were fun and that were easy to make space. And so I gave that a little thought when I prepared for tonight. Okay, we've got Linda. Hello, Linda, at $5 opening bid for choice on these. Thank you for getting us started here. Both hand painted. Obviously, the Japanese pieces, lots of little close work, and each one is a little different from the other because, again, they're just doing this free form. But I'm always impressed when an artist on a curved surface can paint that level of detail because it really is quite small. And then this one, the same theme, but a little different scene. There, we can get to focus a little more. Carolyn now $6 for choice. And then with the pin cushion, this does not look like it was ever used. You can tell it hasn't had a pin stuck in it ever. And you also can see, again, a lot of detail. I'm always so impressed because the people who do the painting on these things, it's not as if they get it's not as if it's less effort than painting a larger surface, and yet they didn't make as much money making these small items. So the fact that they did hand painting on any of this stuff at a point in history is really kind of remarkable to me. And of course, we really don't see it much anymore. All right, so Carolyn at 6, Death Valley Fines now $8 for choice. Linda is out. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate you being here with us. And so Carolyn let us know, or anyone else. We're at $8 for choice on the bid. And I like lots of little things like this. I'm endlessly fascinated with smalls. And now Leanne at $10 for choice. Yeah, I don't have a thimble to put in that, but it looks like any sort of standard one would fit in, and you'd put it in face first so you could put your finger in it afterwards. Death Valley Finds is out, so Leanne at $10 for choice. If anyone else is in, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up, and we've got a couple more rounds left to go. And our last round has one thing that's actually kind of special, and we haven't sold on a show like this before. Okay, we're going to go ahead and sell these. And Leanne, let us know in the chat, $10 choice if you're interested in the pin cushion, the shaker set, or both. And then Death Valley Finds will have the backup bid. So did there. Okay. Oh, someone already sent money via PayPal. Wow, you were really fast. I don't even think I have you. I'm not sure I have your address and everything to send it. So please make sure you do send that. I'm going to put that up again. Okay. Leanne wants the lantern salt and pepper. And that means that, Carolyn, if you are interested in the pin cushion, please let us know because that can be made available to you. And you can let us know in the chat. Pass on pin cushion. Okay, yeah, we're gonna offer that to oh, I'm sorry, I said Carolyn, but I think yeah, Carolyn was the first at $8. So Carolyn, you do have the next choice. If you don't want the pin cushion, then we'll offer it to Death Valley Finds. So let us know in the chat. Okay, let's see here. So for our penultimate, we have something a little different. This is something I like. We'll see if you folks do or not, but I think they're interesting. Okay, Death Valley Fights is going to pass. Carolyn, let us know about the pincushion. This next round, again, our second to last, we have $5 each starting on these, and these are brewery related, and they are going to be 1960s and 70s era. Okay, I've got to make a note here. Carolyn will take the pincushion. Thank you, Carolyn. We'll get that set aside for you. And hi, Joanne. Nice to have you hopping on. We've got two more rounds left, so I'll go ahead and put in. There we go. $5 starting bid on the Breweriana, and we've got choice of either the tray for Atlas Prager Extra Dry Beer, which has not existed for probably 3 or 4 decades now, or this little set of miniature aluminum cans, because this house was full of miniatures, and I think that's why this was there. The beer tray was a little bit of a surprise, but the miniatures, well, they're perfect if Barbie is having a bad day. And this one is Prager beer out of Chicago, and they were a brewery that I think lasted until about the late 60s, because the tray here says Canco, and Canco ended up being, they were a competitor to Consolidated Can, which bought Hazel Atlas Glass. Canco just stayed on their own and stuck to metal and these sorts of objects. There is a little small bit of surface rust right here, so I'll point that out for full disclosure, and perhaps a little scrape here. And thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate it. It's lovely to be here for this. And then the little miniatures. Yes, Beer Belly Barbie. Yes, she was my favorite. It made math class even harder. Um, Still waiting for your McCoy base. Okay, now that's kind of frustrating. You're the second person who hasn't gotten something that's been shipped for a while. So I will do some follow-ups on shipping. And for those of you folks who said that you haven't gotten things that you requested, please send me an email to let me know. Okay. So $5 each on the beer tray or the beer cans. And if anyone out there is interested in these, let me know. I love the graphics personally. I realize it's a little different than our usual live sale audience, but I do think they're cool, and they're certainly useful if you like Breweriana or barware, or if you just like them as display in a rec room. They're vivid and fun. And again, maybe Ken's the one who needs the little miniature beers. They are empty, by the way. We are not legally allowed to ship alcohol through the mail, and so we don't do that. But this one is actually sealed and everything. So if anyone is interested in these, let us know. We do have one more round after this, which is a little more along the lines of what you've been seeing tonight, but I thought I'd throw this one in since it's the Baker's Dozen, just to see if anybody was out there who likes these sorts of graphics and advertising stuff. And you can see they're not, Deej at $5, thank you. And you can see they are not actually intended to be open and functional. They are just for your collection of miniatures. Whereas this one, well, this one's adult size. Although you could make a skating rink for Barbie out of it if you froze water in it, I suppose. I have Barbie on the brain because I sold an early Barbie doll this weekend at the show, and we had Midge at an estate sale recently, and so. All right, Deej at $5 for choice. Anyone else out there, let us know. These could be a great reseller flip at this price, and that is fine because I am happy to share the wealth. So $5 for choice. Anyone else out there, just let us know. Otherwise, we will close this off and go to our last round, and we have a couple of pretty things that I think you'll enjoy in the last round here. I'm going to go ahead and set those down. And going once, going twice. And we're going to let Deej have a deal here at $5 each. Let us know, Deej, if you are interested in the miniature cans or the tray or both. And of course, I mean, if you want to wait, I can bring them with me, but I'm happy to ship. They're not breakable. They shouldn't be hard to deal with. But she'll take both. I think that's a smart buy. Okay. Well, that brings us to our last round. And our last round are in the realm of prints. And they're really, I think, really cool. And they have something in common because they both were tinted by hand. And one is a little older than the others. So we'll start with the old one. And oh yes, I think exactly. See, that's your customer right there. Yes, the guys at the Bottle Club will love those, and I think you'll have fun with them. Okay, so the first print is this one. And this is done, this is a tinted photo print. Tinted, and then they've also added, they've painted on the lace on the dress. And you can see the tinting in the cheeks. So they took a real photo in a studio of this very small child. And I would not necessarily say that's a girl because little boys were dressed essentially the same way until about the age of 3 back then. So we don't know really if it's a girl or a boy. In our modern day, we would read this as a girl. But again, they did not separate. You can see the shoes, those old baby shoes from the Victorian era. And I especially like that they even put a little piece of jewelry on for this, which makes me think it probably is a girl. And yes, it is a really cool piece. I love that it's up against a chaise lounge. This is going to measure approximately 12 by 9 and should date to about 1880 approximately, 80s or 90s. That became very popular to overpaint pictures in that time. And that is why shortly after that, and here's our other choice, a gentleman by the name of Wallace Nutting started taking pictures of old colonial interiors and having an army of women do the hand tinting and the overpainting and embellishing them. And then they all signed the Wallace Nutting name. And this one is one of the colonial interiors. These were very popular in the 19 teens and into the 20s. The part in the middle of her hair signifies she's a girl. Thank you. That's very helpful. And the jewelry, too. So that's great. Well, we just learned something because I did not know that about the parting of the hair in the middle. So, um, so nutting print or child's print, 5 each. So $5 each is the opening bid on these, and the Wallace Nutting, they used to sell for really big prices. These still really sell in the $25, $35, $40 range, depending on the scene. And then this one is just really cute and sweet, and it's really up to the beholder how you would use this in an interior, but I think it's just great. Maybe an instant ancestor. Carol Sue at $10 each. And thank you, Corinne. I think it's pretty cool too. So we're at $10 for choice on these. And yeah, you know what? You don't need to see my face. You just need to see theirs. Actually, I'm going to set this down. We'll take a little closer look at the nutting print too. A lot of the coloration, of course, is in the fire because that's the center and focal point of the scene there. 11 with Stephanie now. Thank you. And the maid who is stoking the fire. And of course, they are to be dressed and the house to be dressed in the ways of early colonial America, because Wallace Nutting realized that a lot of colonial America was being lost in the early 1900s. And so he wanted to take pictures of everything that was left, including museums and interiors. He started developing furniture that was based on these cottage looks. So it was cottage core over a century ago. And there is the copyright there, and you see the name of the print right there. Bean Bean Cassidy? I assume that's a home that he visited. So we have Stephanie at $11 each for choice. Carol Sue let us know, or anyone else let us know. This is our last round of sales for the evening. And I think right now is a great time to be buying art and prints, because I'm noticing that there are a lot of people, I think, because it's summer and they're outside and not thinking about their houses. The sales of these have been slow, and so there's a lot of good deals out there. As soon as September hits and people start thinking about being indoors for the winter, we usually see interest increase. Thomas Smith, nice to see you. Um, uh, yes, we met at Springfield, and that was really great. And what a great couple! And I'm so glad you're here. Stephanie is out, so now Thomas Smith at $12 each is our high bidder. $12 for choice. Anyone else? Let us know, because we're going to wrap this up and wrap this broadcast up pretty quickly here. But I want you all to have a chance at this. The Wallace nutting, the overall size of this piece is somewhere in the vicinity of 22 inches by 18, and the image area is about 10 by 8. Okay, Barb Weeks, nice to have you here. Barb, $15 is the current bid. And there's our choice again. We'll try to keep the glare off it for you. So $15 with Barb. And anyone else, let us know. Put that back up there. Thomas Smith is out. So Barb, you are currently the high bidder for choice at $15. Anyone else, let us know, because we're going to wrap things up here and go about the rest of our evening. But it has been really good to have all of you here. I really enjoy getting to come to you live and talk about what it is we're doing. It was great to take questions and answers, and I'm so glad a lot of you had questions that we could talk about today. So we'll do this in future lives and make sure we have a Q&A period for you. And Barb seems to be our high bidder. If anyone else is in, let us know, because we are going once, we are going twice, and we are going to put sold in, and we're going to sell these and wrap this up.